Good at that. Oh, sorry guys, just have to click that so I can see the screen. Hello everybody and welcome to the Association of Into Dogs. And just a quick plug, we have a YouTube channel for our videos, so don't forget to click, find us and subscribe. So today, Mark Bridger Pescott, owner of Bone Canis, Vice Chair of Into Dogs and co-director of Into Dogs Limited, has joined myself, and we have a very special guest, an old friend of mine, Kate Mallatratt. Some of you will recognize the name or the face from the Pet Remedy website, where she used to be behaviors there for many a year. And over the years, developed this incredible product in between writing books like Home Alone and Happy, which is still available on Amazon. But she developed this amazing product that she now focuses all her time and expertise on. So we're going to be talking to behaviorist Kate about the one and only Pickpocket Food Forager. It's a foraging toy that comes in many shapes and forms. My favorite, personal favorite, has to be the caterpillar. So I'm going to pass you over to the wonderful Kate, and Kate can fill us in.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And as Denise said, yes, my background's in canine behaviour management and training, and I was using foraging a lot for behaviour modification. I just found it was a very, very useful tool for changing a dog's behaviour, their emotions, and just calming them down. And also, it was a fun thing for the owners to do. And gradually, I retired from doing the canine behaviour and training work and moved over to just making my foragers. Um, but first of all, I think it's worth just having a quick chat about a dog's olfactory system because, compared to ours, it's just totally amazing. And I've got a quote I just wanted to read from it's Alexandra Horowitz and her book's The Inside of a Dog, What Dogs See, Smell, and Know. So she says, we might notice if our coffee's been sweetened with a teaspoon of sugar. A dog can detect a teaspoon of sugar in 1 million gallons of water. That's 2 Olympic-size swimming pools full. And it's just hard to imagine that, isn't it? You've got an eighth of the brain, dog's brain is devoted to olfaction. And just to kind of put that into proportion, their olfactory bulb is the size of a plum, and ours is the size of a raisin. So, it's a massive, massive difference. And, we might see, I don't know, a painted wall behind me. They might sort of smell, the bits of dust that are on it, the paint, the cement, the bricks behind it. I think it's quite incredible to just think what something, simple as a plain wall that we see, actually what the dogs process from it. And I think that's quite incredible. And something like, I don't know, chicken soup, we might think, oh, chicken soup for tea. The dog's going to smell the potatoes, the onions, the herbs, every single thing that's in that broth. And it's just quite incredible. And it's such a good tool for managing them, for managing their behavior. So I think it's something that is definitely developing. Certainly when I started pickpockets, there weren't that many forages on the market. There was really the snuffle mats for the original ones. And now you've just got to Google and there's all sorts of things. It's really, I think foraging enrichment has really grown and increased. And yeah, which is just fantastic to see. So
I think the first one you sent me over was one of your prototypes. It was one of the small black ones, the crate ones, and my pair took to it like ducks to water. They immediately knew what to do. It was incredible. I'd set myself up for a nice little training session with the two. Nope, straight in. They'd figured it out. What I loved about it is that you could hang it on the side of the crate, you could hang it inside the crate, you can hang it on a baby gate, you can hang it anywhere. That was 8 years ago, I think, because we had Juno at the time. So it's going back quite a while.
yeah, it is. Yeah, the Kangen crates forages are quite useful. But I think that you've made a good point about that you don't have to teach them because later on I've got a video that I'll show. You've got puppies at sort of 8 weeks. They just take to it immediately. You don't have to show them what to do. It's just that innate instinct is it's just there. It's just there. And every dog can forage, whether they're old, blind, deaf, young, across the board, the brachycephalic dogs,
Well,
any.
it's a godsend for Jeffrey because, as you know, he has health problems. So we have
Mm,
large forager hanging in the hall. It's a permanent wall hanging. As
mm,
you know, we made the little bar and we hang it from the stairs. He uses that every day,
yeah, yeah. I think it's for dogs that,
twice a day, every day, and he gets really annoyed if he doesn't get to use it. He'll sit there grunting and like staring at you and staring at the forager like you forgot something. So yeah, but it gets him to stretch. It has him moving on his legs, so he's not standing in one place where it's going to hurt. So he's moving along. He's stretching his neck. He's stretching his spine. He's active, and that's so important, especially as they become senior dogs.
yeah, I think there's a good point. So in fact, it's probably now a good time to share a video that just shows different dogs foraging. But that's a very good point because a couple of points in the video, I've slowed it right down so you can really see how they move. Their whole body's engaged, how they just pick up a scent and turn. It's amazing. And first of all, you'll see a little puppy Springer, but the speed with which they forage is, you'd think I'd speeded the video up for this with the Springers, but I haven't. They whiz through it. So to slow it down and actually just see what's involved. And we know that olfactory enrichment tires the dogs. And I think when you see it in slow motion, you kind of appreciate the the amount of effort and work and brain work that just goes into something as simple, as sniffing. So let me share my screen and hopefully we can see this video. Okay, this is little Pip. She's 12 weeks. She'd actually just broken her leg here, so she's recovering from a broken leg. But look at that tail. And I've slowed it right down here so we can see just the amount of work that goes into snipping out those treats. And again, we haven't taught this. It's just that innate ability to scent. And she's got a few minutes weight bearing exercise. She broke her front right paw. And this is my working Goldie. She was about 10 weeks here, tipping down with rain. Couldn't take her out. So I just got the foraging blanket out. And I've slowed it down again here so you can really see how she's working. The whole body's moving, isn't it? And this is her at the end of that, which is just perfect, isn't it? It's like all zonked out. This is Rio. He's got progressive retinal atrophy, totally blind, yet he can happily forage, nothing to hurt himself on. Some of my blind dogs just whiz through the foragers. And this is a Dachshund in a foraging bag. What do Dachshunds do? They bark all the time. Give them the bags, they bury their heads in. The bags have got pockets on the inside, and it quietens them down, it calms them down. And I thought this was quite funny. It's just actually the inside of a bag. And this is my 14-year-old Goldie. She had an LCL tear last year, can't operate on restricted exercise, but yet she can have a little bit of weight bearing exercise with the foraging that just helps us stretch those legs and start to build up muscle mass. And this chappie Dylan, he blew a disc throwing a ball, so he's paralyzed. Hated his physio, but you can see how foraging engages him so much that his owner can work his back legs whilst he's not bothered. And this lovely collie, Tulip, she's got some sort of brain injury, and I'm not quite sure what it is, but a simple pouch, just playing and playing with it for a few minutes. Doesn't have to be complicated, just having a nice sniff and play. And she's as happy as Larry. Now, isn't strictly olfactory enrichment, it's just non-food enrichment, but I filled the pouches with lamb's wool. And this is Lottie just having a fantastic time, just pulling out the lamb's wool. Doesn't eat it, just pulls the pouches apart. You've got the degloving behaviour and tears the wool up. So that's just another use for non-food enrichment use. And here we talked about the emotional aspect. I'm sent picture after picture after picture of dogs sleeping on the foragers. So it's not just foraging that's enriching, the actual foragers, they seem to like to lie and doze on them afterwards. So I think that's quite interesting. And that kind of brings me to another point. What is enrichment? Obviously, we're engaged in the seeking circuit, but we see some types of enrichment, the dreaded ball chuckers, where you've got the dogs chase, chase, chase. It can't stop. You've got eye talk, stalk, chase, motor pattern. It's like this record going round and round and round, isn't it? They can't stop. Or those fish that flip, have they got batteries in that flip? And
Neville
only
loves
dogs.
those.
Sorry.
Neville's obsessed. He just sits there looking at it.
But if you don't use them carefully, and people, some owners don't, the dogs will all play with them until they're exhausted, and the owners think, oh, they're enjoying them. Well, actually,
The thing is with those is that what I find the battery doesn't last very long, which is good. They can't overdo the flipping move. But what a lot of people are doing is giving them unsupervised, and the
yeah,
dogs clamp down and break the batteries, and that's so dangerous. It's really dangerous. A lot of Neville has one that's like 3 foot long now. It has a pouch that we can put nice scented things in, but there's no batteries. So we have
right,
squeakers in it and things like that. So he gets to play with that for limited amounts of time. And I think the same can be said for like all toys. It is down to limited amounts of time and
right.
supervision because a lot of people forget dogs will go self-employed and then they'll overdo it.
Yeah, I think
That's where the
that's
danger
a good
comes
point.
in.
And
Yeah.
then you see them barking, or they get frustrated, or their adrenaline cortisol levels are raised. And I think that's what I like about the olfactory enrichment, that it's kind of got a start and a finish. They're excited, they have a good forage, and then it gradually they calm down, and you see a much calmer dog at the end of it. And I think that's kind of the sort of scale that you want to see.
Yeah.
Enrichment.
You said about the non-food enrichment where you're putting the sheep wool and all in. What I love about the whole process of the foragers is the simplicity. It doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, you have the bean bags you can put in to make it that little bit more complicated, but there's never, I've seen it on a number of enrichment groups where people say, well, the dog figured it out in seconds. Is there a way to make this or that or the other more complicated? It's too taxing for the dog then, and the dog gets bored and they don't want to play with it. They don't want to use it. Then the person's kind of saying, well, they're a bit stupid. They can't figure it out. No, you've made it too difficult.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Some dogs like Tulip don't need it complicated. My old Goldie can't cope with the foraging bag. It's too complicated. So she has the more gentle, the foraging blanket or the pouches. Other dogs like my Springers, I get the foraging bag out and I use cat kibble because it's a real tiny, tiny kibble. I put it in, I put some toys in there, I put a caterpillar in there, I nest the pouches, I wrap it all in the blanket and stuff it as full as I can. And she's straight in there. So it just depends on
Mm.
the dog. And yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. I
Yeah,
think,
because you asked me before with the pouches when if I put the bean bags in and put treats in, what do they take out first? And I remember one of mine would always take the bean bags out first, then gobble all the yummies. The other would trash through and eat all the treats and then take the bean bags out. So it's very interesting as well how the different dogs
Dogs.
respond to the different things.
Yeah, and also if you're using them to foraging to modify behavior, you don't want something complicated.
No.
If I don't know, you've got a dog that doesn't want to go in the car. In fact, Lottie got to 6 months and decided she wouldn't get in the car. She just had teenage brain. I think she forgot her name. She forgot how to sit. She forgot absolutely everything. No problem with the car, not car sick, nothing. But she just decided she wasn't going to get in. And I'd used a couple of treats and wasn't getting anywhere. Got the forage, the pouches out, nested them inside each other, and solved the problem because she'd got that reinforcement history of having them at home. So you'd got that positive conditioned emotional response already, but also you've got that longevity of the treat. It wasn't just sort of 2 or 3 seconds, it's a minute foraging them. And that's sorted her getting back in the car, and now she's absolutely fine. So I think sometimes it can be quite useful to use foraging to increase the value of the reinforcer. Sometimes I take the pouches on a walk, and when I whistle my dogs back, I throw the pouch because you've got them chasing it, which increases the value of the reinforcer. But also at the end of that, you've got a nice forage. So rather than just feeding to hand, they really like having the chase and having a forage. And if I need to put the lead on, they're standing still foraging, so I can easily put the lead on. So I think there's kind of quite a few uses
Do
uses for
you
taking foraging on the road.
do you associate a cue with whenever you use a forager or something like that? Do you ever use like a ready cue or something like that?
Yeah, I usually say find the sweeties. The reason is when I was doing my behavior modification work, you try and say sweeties and be cross with your dog. You just can't. And so, your dog's, yeah, lunging at another dog and you're going, find the sweeties. And it kind of changes your emotions. So
Yeah,
that's kind of stuck with me. I just say, find the sweeties. So the cue.
yeah. I always use the word ready, but sort of quite amdram. Ready. It's that kind of like it's something that's like it's like about to happen, and it gets them to look at you a little bit quicker. But I suppose
Yeah,
each
I
dog's
think it's a good idea because you've got the anticipation, because the anticipation has been shown to be more reinforcing than the
yeah.
reinforcement itself, hasn't it? So
Yeah,
that
I've done this with
excitement.
a little
Yeah.
Jack Russell he's a bit anxious about other dogs. He's perfectly fine, but he's just a bit nervous around dogs. But we did the whole ready go find it game. The only problem is it worked a little bit too well. So if anybody says the word ready, he runs up going, "Come on, then let's do this." He is a wow, this is fantastic. So it has worked for him exceptionally well. So that's quite good.
Yeah.
Same thing this morning with a Cavapouche barking at the neighbours. I think she barked twice. I said thank you. She came back. I scattered some treats, and that was it. Didn't bark again the whole hour we were there. So just redirection, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's distraction, redirection, and yeah, you say engaging that seeking circuit is
Yeah.
just
So
is
I always carry a rucksack with me, and in the rucksack I think there's some spare harnesses, there's toys, there's treats. It smells basically, but I use it in one of a few ways. So if I go and see a dog that maybe is showing some signs of not being very happy, well, the bag goes in front of me. So the dog smells the bag first before they get too upset with me, which is can help. Doesn't always work because it's not my first bag. Sometimes it goes wrong, but the most thing I see about that, if that bag goes on the floor, especially puppies, they're climbing in it. They want to go and see what I've got, So they'll open the zips. Very clever. They'll open the zips. They'll climb in. They drag all the toys out, and I've got a wonderful rubber pineapple of all things that's pretty much indestructible that I use for treats. They all love that. So I've always, I mean, for years and years and years, I've always worked on the assumption if I go into a house, if I can get that nose working early, then generally it's going to go very, very well, and it's all okay. Just, I think they can override it, can't they? The nose if they're too anxious, too worried, too frightened, that kind of thing. So it's about re-engaging that nerve again, isn't it?
yeah, and I think it's interesting what decisions they make about people, um, according to their scent. Because sometimes you see dogs that maybe don't like somebody, and you can't really pinpoint why. They just don't. or other people. I remember I used to work in council guys like years ago, and I was working very, very briefly at Waitrose. It was Saturday job, and obviously I'd washed, showered, clean clothes, got my Waitrose overall on, and yet there was a guide dog in there, and it came straight up to me and started sniffing me. So despite washing everything, I obviously stank of dog.
Yeah, none taken.
Yeah, yeah, but
And that's the thing. I mean, one of my clients had he was a failed sniffer dog at the airports.
yeah,
So he didn't. There was something about him. He could do the job perfectly well, but I think there was a couple of aspects. I think maybe it was his hips. I think, but the problem she's got is that when she walks around her local parks of an evening time, he runs up to groups of kids and sits there going, "He's got some." So he will pick out the ones that have got the weed. So he sits there giving all the cues.
He's got it.
Yeah, brilliant. So she has to keep on her lead quite a lot when she goes around the local parks. Yeah, brilliant.
Wonderful. Of course, scent memory lasts for life. I know two of my puppies met after 5 years, hadn't seen each other at all, and they just carried on as if they'd, just been for a walk every day, didn't even sniff each other, just, oh, hi, nice to see you, and carried on. So that's scent memory. And the emotions it carries, I think that's um an interesting one, which is why I quite liked that example of talking about, the brace smell of a stone, and that this medical student described, the emotional side of scent. I don't think is something that we can appreciate, but
Well, it's used in supermarkets, isn't it?
mm,
Pumping out the smell of fresh bread or hot coffee when you want to try and sell your house. It's things like that that generally evokes a nice memory in people. A fry up generally does it.
oh
Fresh
yeah,
donuts, big donuts.
anticipation, donuts.
Yeah. Donuts, candy floss, all those things suddenly evoke an awful lot of childhood memories. So it's a common practice, certainly with shops, to pump out sort of fake smells sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. That's a good point. And our dogs, I suppose, they're kind of picking out certain scents in a soup of scents, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I have this conversation with quite a few of my clients where you can I go and see a dog and they just want the dog to maybe sit, lay down, something like that. And I'm there sitting there going, but you know what they can do, right? They can do all this extra stuff. And especially if I go and do the talks with the kids and they all want to put their hand out. And I said, he's already smelt you. He smelt you before he came in the room. He knows where you are straight away. Um, and it's interesting, especially when you start explaining, as you did earlier, like with the size of the olfactory bulb in us and them, and how many scent receptors on average, and it's amazing. And the kids it blows their mind a little bit. So they tend to have a different respect, I think, at a certain point when they kind of go, okay, this dog can do stuff. I've had dogs before that have been sleeping on the client's stomach, for argument's sake, brand new behaviour. And I've actually asked the client to go and get a health check, and they've had stomach cancer, they've had something else go wrong, and the dog's told you.
Oh,
You wouldn't do stuff.
yeah,
Yes, it always amazes me that nose is such a fantastic thing.
it is. And literally, one of the questions I'm often asked are, well, that's going to last 5 minutes, my dog's going to tear the fleece up. And I can honestly say I've had nobody come back for a refund because the fleece has been ripped. And I think it must be because in the order of things, I think foraging, engaging a seeking circuit comes before ripping it up.
Well, one of
That's the
mine was a
question.
holy terror. I mean, there was one I had for a while.
Mm,
He ate brand new pair of glasses that were not cheap. He ate rubber flooring I had just put down for Jeffy within 5, 10 minutes.
mm.
Um, oh, he trashed the place. If his Kong wobbler went under the table, all the chairs got tipped over to get it. There was no holds barred with this creature. He was a lunatic. He was loving life. The moment you gave him the caterpillar, he was so gentle, a different dog.
Yes, I've
I
heard
thought,
that so
yeah,
many times.
because I kind of thought, will I or won't it? Because he
Mm.
was watching Jeffy all the time, using his hanging one. He was using the floor one, and I could see he wanted to try it. So I gave him the floor one, and he loved it. He loved, especially if I put toilet rolls in it as well. So
Yeah.
he had the shredding that he could
Mm.
do, but he also had the foraging. So when the caterpillar came out, that was it, and he'd take it off into bed with him, and he'd lie on it, and he'd sleep on it when it was finished, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the other thing I do for going for non-scent enrichment is the hanging forager. I put different scents in the pockets, so that's
Mm.
actually quite fun. So it's not always just about food, but sometimes it's just going past and sniffing. Yeah, just various scents that they might associate with being outside or yeah, that kind of thing. So it's just nice to have things other than food occasionally that we
Yeah.
can.
So what would you say to somebody? Because I've had this as well before, but where you might try a little bit of the forager pouches, that kind of stuff, and they turn around and go, "Well, dog's not interested, doesn't want
Dog's not interested.
it." Yeah,
Yeah, oh, that's interesting. Often it's because they make it too hard, or maybe they've just used their ordinary kibble and the dog actually really doesn't like it. So you then say, well, what about using fresh chicken or liver cake? Open the pouches because you often sometimes hear people saying, well, those sulfur mats are no good because my dog just picks it up and shakes it. But actually, when you think about it, unfortunately, they can't read the packet that says this is a foraging toy. We have to teach them that actually put your stuff on the floor, use really big treats, stay with them, hold it,
yeah,
teach them that their first learning, which is critical, is to use their nose. And the same with the pouches. I'd have a very, very high value treat, big pieces of chicken or something like that. Open the pouches, make it very, very easy so that the first learning is using their nose. So if you make it too difficult and they're not particularly food orientated, then that can be an issue. But all dogs sniff, all dogs love engaging the seeking circuit. So it tends to be, I think, probably low value treats. You've made it too hard because we might look at a pouch like that and say, well, gosh, that's just too easy. We might, but that's our perception of it. But the dog might think, well, look at Tulip. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Well, we're not trying to stick our nose into it.
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
yeah.
No, 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 that's a very good question, actually. Very good. Yeah, good point.
Yes. Open your wallet without using your hands, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
A lot of people were worried as well. Oh, I can only use these if I use dry kibble. No, these are washable. Okay, clearly don't put gravy or soup or anything like raw meat that gets forgotten about and stinks you out of it a week later. But I mean, if you're using, I mean, there's fabulous freeze dried treats
Yeah.
out on the market.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. They come in different sizes and everything. You can make your own treats. You don't like shop, but I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Mm,
As you say, you can put different scents in, get a couple of little toy rats or whatever from IKEA, put catnip in them, little things like that, just to make it a bit different.
yeah, and
we often
just
get soft toys from charity shops
Mm.
for the pup because he likes to shred stuff. He likes to kill things quite a lot. So we do. I mean, when we first got him, we'd come back and he might have attacked a cushion, and it happened to be one with those really, really, really fine feathers in. So we
Lovely.
actually we couldn't really see our front room for feathers. But then he was laying on the settee, fast asleep, feather hanging out his nose, in his ear. This is my house. It's the art and the artist, isn't it? But we often give him toys that he can just go and shred because if you see him doing it, he's thoroughly enjoying himself and he'll really rag it about the place and he's loving it. But he has a good sniff around it as well, which is always a good thing.
oh, he'd enjoy the wool. I just use the wool from the insulation you get in frozen packets,
Yeah.
wool insulation. So I just take obviously the plastic off and I'd use that.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah, cool.
yeah, and as you saw, Lottie was great time. One of her favourite activities is just pairing that up. So that might be a
Yeah, I think we've only got there's one which I think is a very large purple octopus that's been around for a long, long time, and that's not destroyed. Um, but the rest, yeah, they're all just empty soft toys now. Just nothing left.
what sort of dog is it?
I've got two German shepherds.
A two German Shepherds, right?
Yeah, so I think he's a bit autistic. So he's not really growing up at all, but he likes to shred stuff. He likes to sort of wander about and destroy things, which is fine. It's not a
He's
problem.
having fun though.
Absolutely,
That's
yeah,
the main thing. You don't
yeah.
have to grow up when you're having fun.
No, exactly. I had a life-size toy dog boxer, that he loved that, and at the time he was the same size of it, but that's now gone in the bin because he would rip the head off it first, and then it had wire in it for the front paws. It wasn't perfectly safe, but he would rag that and hit himself with it on his bum because it was that big, and then wonder where he got hit on the bum by. Sort of spin round. Yeah, who was that? Oh, stop touching me. But I mean, he used to bark a lot in the garden, and the way we counteracted that is either a handful of grated cheese or some very very small treats, and just either throw one at a time into the long grass or handful like you're feeding chickens, and then he wouldn't be barking at the noises that he would normally be barking at. So now, so much better, because now he hears barks, he kind of looks at us sometimes going, well, where's the stuff then? And of course, I don't do it all the time because I don't want to create that habit, but it's such a good way of getting them to disengage from something and giving them a bigger reward doing something different.
Yeah.
It's much
Yeah.
nicer for the dog.
Yeah, absolutely. She's say, because it just engages so much of their emotions, their physicality, just the whole dog, isn't it? It engages the whole dog.
I think the nicest thing about all of it for me, and it's so clear on your video, the nicest bit, the most best bit for me ever is that bit at the end when they crash and they're just so deep in it. And that's the bit where I've got to say to people, leave them alone. They're sleeping. I know they look adorable. Don't touch the dog.
Actually, I was on a Zoom the other week, and Lottie, she's 8 months now, and I've got laminate floors with vet beds all over, and she got the most noisiest toy she could, and every time she dropped it, it was between the vet beds, and it's this crash. She said to the person I was on the Zoom with, just hold on a moment. Got the foraging bag, stuffed it full, put it down. Silence, apart from a few sniffs, and then 15 minutes later, she just climbed onto the back of the sofa and went to sleep. And it was just so, actually, these are good.
Yeah.
And that, it was quiet enrichment, but it's just the fact that, oh, that was good. I can sleep now. I just needed something to engage my brain and my body. And so,
I
yeah,
think it's probably the one thing that most people don't really pay much attention to. I bang on about it all the time. Is don't worry so much about the physical side of things, especially with puppies. Work that brain, get that brain going, because that's the one thing that's going to properly tire that dog out. Most people don't bother. The couple this morning, one was a Cavapoo, and one was a Cavapoo, I think. But the Cavapoo is only 4.5 months, about twice the size of the Cavapoo Sean, and it's just you throw treats down, and the young pups kind of going, not sure where that went. And if you bang on the head with a little treat, looking like that. And of course, she's watching the older one do the foraging, and then she was getting there just a little bit too late each time. Then she kind of worked out, hang about. I need to pay attention here. And then she was starting to get some. But with that one, 20 minutes in, she's on the floor. She's going, I'm done. My brain's gone. Of course, she's a puppy, so 10 seconds later, something else happened, and she gets and runs away again. But it's nice that you use that brain more often, and they really do calm down.
And it's nice with the elderly dogs because, maybe they can't see, they've got cataracts, they can't hear anymore. But you saw Phoebe in that video at 14 and a half. Her nose is absolutely fine. And I know my last two that are sadly not with us, in their last week of life, that, the day's coming. And maybe they can only lie down, but blimey, they are still foraging, even if they're sort of crawling across foragers, they can still sniff. And I think that's I guess, that's obviously one of their very, very last senses to go.
Has there been any research then on the olfactory gland with dementia?
That's a good point. I don't know of any research, but I think I'm sure regular foraging helps. I've heard of dogs with dementia how it calms them down. We'd maybe do the Times crossword every day to keep our brains going. I think if you do foraging every day, I'm sure it's going to keep those as pathways.
I have read a number of things about that. None that I would post as actual solid research, but I have seen an awful lot of blogs and comments that, yeah, it is like us doing crossword or Sudoku every day to keep our brains functioning. So why wouldn't it work with dogs?
Well, I was
Yeah.
just thinking rather than using it as a um, preventative,
Mm.
is using it on dogs that already have dementia to try and elicit that memory. And the same thing with humans, right? So there's plenty of documented videos of people that just they're non-functioning, they're not there, they're not talking to anybody. But then, like, I think the one guy they put, no, lady, they put headphones on her playing Swan Lake. She used to be a ballerina, and she was in
Mhm.
the 90s, completely gone, if you like. But then, as the music's getting through to her brain, you can see her start to do all the movements, and it brought back an element of control. The same thing with the guy that they played him music that he used to play on, and he went from not being able to utter a word to conversing with the carer because the music was triggering that synapse.
Music is actually great for humans with dementia because we used a lot of that with my dad,
Yeah,
and you could see him light up because he
yeah.
was reminiscing about his teenage years.
I just wonder whether that must be some research somewhere on the
Yeah.
olfactory with dementia dogs, but not as a preventative, but as a way of
But as,
bringing them back.
so, yeah, anecdotally, I know that it calms them. And if they're calmer, dementia patients, the calmer they are, the better their dementia is.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that would be an interesting study to
It would be great, wouldn't it?
think, yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
It's your next book.
that's my next book.
Just give me a little credit on the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thanks,
will
Mark,
do.
for making me do all this hard work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's things like that that will be actually be really kind of useful for a lot. But I've got one kind of moment with a tiny little dog who's got dementia. I helped her put him into his wheels for the first time the other day, and he loved it. But he's just having a few problems at the moment. It's all dementia based. He can get a little bit bitey, but he's only got about three teeth anyway, so it's not the end of
Oh,
the world. But so yeah, I'm just thinking of different ways. So people like that would probably love a book about how the sensory stuff could help dogs with dementia.
yeah,
You heard it here first, guys. Coming soon to a bookstore near you.
There's quite a few things in the range that you have as well. So there's something for everyone, really.
Mm.
Something for all needs. They're used a
So,
lot in free work as well. Sarah Fisher uses a lot of your products in free work.
yes, she does. I've been to Sarah's Tilly Farm, and it's yeah, interesting to see the dogs use it for free work. And I think it's quite nice to give them something where you're not involved in it. You've given them
Mm.
to, you can step back, and particularly if you're assessing dogs, for their movement. For instance, when you looked at Pip, the little Springer puppy, you could see her tail was very wagging very, very evenly. And you can assess a dog's so obviously it's back if it's only wagging its tail to one side and that type of thing. Or is it weight bearing on all four paws or one leg stiff? So with something like the foraging blanket, you can see them moving about
Mm.
quite well. Or obviously you can raise the foragers up if you want to see something at some nose height.
Mm.
So there's quite a lot of assessment you can do by just observing how they move when they're foraging. So
I think a very important question then: where can people buy this stuff from?
oh, good question. My website. My website is unashamed plug here is www.pickpocketforagers.com.
We
What
can
did I
add
say?
that. Yeah, we can add that to the link. And doing competition or something today?
Yeah, I think
We
we
are,
are.
yeah, yeah.
I
Awesome.
don't know what the competition is.
I don't know. We haven't really planned this. We're going to give away a prize. I don't know, the first person to find a picture of me wearing one as a skirt.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah,
You think we're joking and we're not.
we're
Yeah,
not.
there is somewhere there is a picture of Denise wearing a
It's either
pocket.
on my page or it's on the Pickpocket Forager page.
I think didn't you have the pouch as a hat
I
also?
wore them as a
Like on
hat,
the
and I
same.
had the cat. Yeah, I had the hat. I had the caterpillar was the scarf. Mm, yeah, the hanger was a skirt.
There we go.
It's a camouflage hanger that I wore as a skirt with a camouflage t-shirt. So
How's that?
that was the look. Yeah, I think
I'm kitted
I had the
out for
Christmas ones. I had the Christmas ones because I was being very festive. So,
I'm kitted out for winter. So yes, we will sort out the competition and maybe put it in the links on the
yeah.
chat. So,
That'd
yeah.
be good. That'd be good. Yeah, that'd be really nice.
Okay.
Any other tips that you've got for people that want to
Just
enrich their dogs' lives with using the schnoz?
don't wear the pickpockets, I think. So I think the nice thing about olfactory enrichment is, I think, as you've mentioned, you don't have to go and buy lots of things. It's not expensive. You can just pick a few treats in the garden, take them on the walk, and I think that's the nice thing. And it's just something as simple as don't pull your dog away from scents. And I often think, if you stand and watch your dog sniffing, there's often a start and a finish. There's a very definite finish. And I think if you pull them halfway through away, it must be like sort of not seeing the end of a movie. You've seen the beginning and you kind of, how does it finish? So I think just as sorry, hair in my mouth from that forager. Oh, sorry. Um, One of my dog hairs. Um,
One of your five a day.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, a day, bit of protein. So yeah, so it doesn't have to be expensive. You walk your dog, just let them sniff. Or if they can't go for a walk for whatever reason, you can let them forage in the house, hide treats around the house, throw them around the garden. So it doesn't have to be expensive. And
I loved in your video with the big pouch pocket with the little dash hand going right in. I mean, that's what they do anyway. So that's just really feeding into their nature. Happy little dogs. And before anybody says suffocation, it's made of fleece, it's breathable, completely washable, they're breathable, there's no problem. I've seen photos of dogs curl up and fall asleep in those after they've emptied them. So
yeah, Dachshunds particularly, to say, for the barking. I've had a lot of success um, with getting them out, yeah, stopping them barking. So yeah. So yeah,
right, so listen, stay tuned, and we will post in a different link. We will post the competition.
great,
So once we
lovely.
figure
Well,
out what we want from you.
So we've got your website. Are you on Facebook?
I'm on Facebook, yes, Pickpocket Foragers. I'm on Instagram and I'm on TikTok.
Blimey. Okay.
Well, we need to up our game. We have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. So there.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you both.
It's been lovely to meet you. It's been really interesting. I've enjoyed that a lot. It is fascinating. I do like the nose. It is very, very good. It's so much goes on because it's the way that it works with the side vents and the circulation of it all. It's just, yeah, it's a very well designed piece of kit, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. So we just need to use it daily, several
Yeah,
times a day.
absolutely.
Okay.
Well, it seems like a good place to finish up, Denise.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. And yeah, good to
Yeah,
see you.
hang on one sec.
Oh,
No, you go on, Mark. You can stop the recording, but
oh, okay. Yes, I
yeah,
don't
we
know
can
what
have
you
a
can
chat
say.
in a minute. Yeah.
Thanks for coming along. Thanks for seeing us. Thanks for watching as well.
Thanks, everybody.
And we'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah. Bye.